Hi Girl Scouts, my name's Molly. I'm the program director at Girl Scouts of Virginia Skyline in Roanoke, Virginia. And today we're going to be working on the senior Locavore badge, step number 5, which is to try a local cooking challenge. And to do that, we are going to make something from scratch using local ingredients. And I chose for this to make local yogurt using local dairy. This is from Homestead Creamery. It's near me. In our area, and there's a bunch of benefits to drinking and using local dairy products. It's fresher, it's tastier, you're supporting your local business community, and you know where your dairy is coming from. So we are going to make this today. I've got all my ingredients laid out. We've got a half a gallon of milk, and it's whole milk, so you want to use whole milk when you're making yogurt. We've got a half a cup of starter yogurt. You need a little bit of yogurt to start when you're making a larger batch. So we've got a half a cup of that. We also have a half a cup of sugar, just regular granulated sugar, and then a tablespoon of vanilla. So these two are, those are up to you. You don't have to make it sweet and vanilla flavored. It's just a really nice, a nice recipe to use if you'd like to do that. But again, those are optional ingredients for the process. And then you're also gonna want a couple things. One, you want a big pot with a flat bottom so that it heats evenly. So just a nice big pot, and then a thermometer. this is a candy thermometer, but any thermometer that you can have that'll accurately read the temperature of your milk, because making yogurt is not as hard as you might think. It's a matter of just heating and cooling the milk at the right time and then letting it set. So it's pretty simple, and I'm very excited to show you. I hope you're ready to get started making some yogurt with me. So the first step is really just to put your yogurt in your pot and then heat it up. So we're going to start just by taking our milk and adding it to the pot. You want all that half gallon of milk. All right, so we're going to take it and we're going to heat it up. You want it heated to 180 degrees. So it's very important, again, that you keep your thermometer close, you keep a watch on it. It will take a while. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. It's going to be a while, so I'll come on back once it's up to 180 degrees and show you what our next steps are. So we're going to keep a close eye on this and get started. All right, so my milk has been on for just a few minutes, and it's at about 110 degrees. So again, we're waiting till it gets to 180. But the next step I know is going to be to cool it off. So once we get it to 180, the next step is to cool it down to, let me check, to 110, which is about where it's at now. So we want to cool it off quickly. And so I'm going to do that by getting a bigger pot than this one and filling it up with ice water, and that way I can put that in there and let it cool off quickly. So I'm going to multitask while we wait. All right, and I've got a big bucket of ice water for when that's ready. It's near 150 now. So the next steps are after I've cooled it down in the ice bath, it's going to be to add my sugar, my vanilla, and then my yogurt to the starter. And while we're waiting, I'll also talk about what we do with it after it's ready. So we put it in jars. I like to use these mason jars because they have a lid I can put on them. You don't have to seal. It's not like a vacuum situation, but you do want a lid because it's yogurt. So I have like 5 of these that I think should be enough. And that's what we're going to put our yogurt into to set when it's ready. All right, so about 160 degrees now. All right, so you can see we are getting real close to 180 there. It's not moving up super fast, but it is very important to keep a close eye on it when it gets up here because you don't want it to get too hot. We are just about at 180. We're not quite there yet, but super, super close. So again, I'm watching it very closely, checking it a lot. Almost ready. All right, it's at 180. So I'm gonna turn the heat off. I'm gonna let it stay there for just a moment. I don't wanna move it right away. I'm just gonna let it sit at 180 for a minute. Take it off the heat. And I'm gonna set it into my ice bath because again, we're waiting for it to drop in temperature is the next step. All right. I may have overfilled my ice bath, so I might have to make some adjustments. But it's already dropping in temperature. It's about 170 now, dropping quick enough, that's good. All right, so again, we're waiting for it to drop back down to between 110 and 115. It doesn't have to be extremely precise. You just want to make sure it's very close to that window, somewhere in there. Okay, we're right at about 120 now, so it takes a little while to get back down to that temperature you're looking for, but again, keep an eye on it. Almost there. All right, and remember our next step, once we are cooled off enough, is we're gonna add our sugar and our vanilla. Optional, those are up to you. And then after that, we're gonna add our yogurt to our mixture. Almost there. All right, we are right about 110. So I'm gonna pull my pot out, set it on a cool burner, double check. Yep, right at 110. Okay, so we are good to go. We are gonna add, like I said, our sugar and our vanilla. And then stir it up. I want that sugar to dissolve. Perfect. And then after that, you're going to take, let's see, about a half a cup of the warm mixture and put it in a separate bowl. I'll go and do that. And then to that bowl, we're going to add that reserved yogurt starter, remember? So we're going to add that in. And then we're just going to whisk it together. We want it to combine in there until it's not chunky or thick or anything. You want to make sure it's nice and dissolved. And then when that's ready, you just add that back into your original milk that you've been working with. Stir that up again, whisk it all together so it's nice and combined. And then we're gonna add it to our jars. All right, so you do want to be just be careful with this. It's a warm liquid. We're just going to be taking it and pouring it into our clean mason jars. Remember? And you want to fill them. I like to fill them just about. There's a fill line on this jar, but you want to fill them just under the lid. You don't want them overflowing. Whoop! And I spilled some. That's okay. So you may want to do this over the sink. I'm going to have to clean up after myself. All right, and this last one is probably not going to be full, but that's okay. Get my last one in there. Oh no, it's pretty good. All right, and I can fill this one a tiny bit more. And this one, because I spilled. All right, so I've got my jars all filled up. I'm gonna put my lids on each of them. And then the last step, just wipe the edges of the ones I spilled on before adding the lid. The last step is you want them to set, and you want to leave them, I think the span is about 5 to 12 hours. I've always done 12 and it seems to work really well. Gives me a nice thick yogurt. But to do that, you're gonna put your jars in a cooler with some warm water, and it's not hot water. It's not like really, really hot. I think the temperature you want is about 110 degrees. And you're gonna put the cooler with the jars. You're gonna fill with water up to about 3/4 of the height of the jars. Let it sit overnight, and then we'll check it in the morning. So I'm going to go ahead and get that step done. Set. I don't know if you can see it. I've got a cooler on the ground over here. I'm going to start running my warm water. Then we'll add that into our cooler. All right. And so that's making yogurt. We'll check it back in the morning and you'll see the finished product. All right, so I took the yogurt out of the cooler this morning and set it in the fridge, so it's been in there for a little while, but we're going to check on it now. It should have set overnight and then gotten nice and thick and yogurty. Oh, and it's so perfect. So I'm going to see if I can show you. Hopefully you can see it. It's perfect consistency. So I'm just going to scoop some out. Beautiful. And make myself a bowl of yogurt. So hopefully you enjoyed this part of your Locavore badge, making something with fresh local dairy, and I hope you try this at home and enjoy. Thank you for joining.